You know what? I'm very excited about this. So I'll definitely, first of all, want to give you all a shout out and tell you all thank you so much for making this happen. Because without you guys, we couldn't do this.
Faith who's behind the
Yeah. So I was gonna say Faith behind. She's the core value of all this for sure. And we're excited to partner with you guys on this and be able to have this in our all.
We're here
Here we go.
in the new studio.
Let's go, baby.
Brand new.
Let's do it.
This seems like this has been long awaited for something that really honestly didn't take that much time when we actually
I
did it.
mean, I honestly kind of quickly considering, but like,
Yeah, once we finally got into it, we were a little hampered by the old Snowmageddon and school being out and
I
all.
was gonna say between holidays and how busy everybody's been and all that stuff, like I think it's
Yeah.
not been too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. But anyways, so we're just talking through some stuff today. I was just gonna ask you, so where we at in the mortgage world right now?
That's a heck of a question.
Starting the day.
Yeah. There's a,
Right here, right off the bat. Where's it going? What are interest rates going to be like 3 months from now?
Yeah, let me get my crystal ball out. No, I think it's good. Honestly, I don't think anyone right now can really tell you what's gonna happen because there's so many things out there that used to be correlated directly to what rates do. So like it used to be, if the bond market does this, rates are gonna do that somewhat to the point. We had rate cuts from the Feds last year, and rates actually went up for us, but everything else kind of went.
What I've learned from you guys is those could mean a million different things. I mean, around the time, I know I personally, I thought around the election, I was like, man, if this goes the way we want it to, regardless of which way you way you choose, I think it could go one way or the other. It could really help things. And it doesn't seem like we've really gotten a whole lot of relief since then, even with the Fed rate cut around that time too. And
Well, ever since COVID, it's just like it's taken the formula and just completely jacked it up.
yeah,
And it's just like it's gone from the point where, like you said, this happens, and if this happens, this happens. And now it's like, for example, there's things going on with gold and the value of gold now, and how that was correlated with some other things, and it's just like that those correlations aren't happening. So honestly, I do know we have Donald Trump coming in office, and if you like him or not, he is a real estate guy, and I think ultimately that probably holds well for us because I know that is definitely a focus for him. When and how that takes place, no, I have no idea.
one of the things I've said since it happened, I mean, regardless of where, nationally, we weren't far off from 50-50, whether you wanted Kamala or Trump, but locally, we're a red state and real estate is local, right? So I think to me, confidence in that would tend to be more red heavy, so. I don't know if that's right or not. Again, crystal ball. Who knows if we're right or wrong? There's so many different factors, but
Well, everybody's waiting for everything else to happen. And like you said, ultimately, we the people actually kind of decide how that growth happens. Like us saying yes and doing this. I mean, yes, rates make things easier. If you have a better rate, you'll be more apt to do certain things and refinance or whatever. But like ultimately, our confidence in the market is going to be the reason you invest in a stock or a cryptocurrency or buy real estate or whatever that is.
one thing is people are always going to buy real estate. It's kind of what I've said from the beginning. I mean, it's like, what, 2.5 years from now, it was like, or 2 to 2.5 years ago, we were looking at it. It was like, okay, well, if I like that house, I'm just going to go buy it. Right? Why not? Right? There's no reason not to. Rates were 2-3%, whatever you're looking at.
Yeah.
So you just did it. Now people still buy, but they got to have a little heavier reason to do it. Whether it's mom's moving to a nursing home and I got to sell her house, or I'm relocating for work, or maybe I got a big bonus at work or a raise, or just raiders. Yeah. So we're still seeing a lot of that stuff. The calls are still coming in. It just, takes a little bit more of a grind on our part to keep it moving because just the pure number of transactions are less than it was a couple of years ago.
Well, yeah, and like I'll get people to ask me like, "Hey Ben, like, what's your personal opinion? Do you think now's the best time to pull the trigger, or to make a purchase?" And my go-to response, and it's very accurate and very true in my opinion, but like ultimately, the house that you pay for it, like what you pay for a house, is the value of that is really up to you.
Right.
It obviously still needs to appraise,
Yeah.
but like the payment,
Even the appraiser don't mean a whole lot,
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, those come in at purchase price more often than I'd like to see probably. But at the same time, like if you can justify the payment associated with the value of the home that you're buying and it fits your family's needs, like, yes, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm all about trying to buy at the right time, but nobody really knows. Like, we thought rates were going to come down a little bit sooner than they have, and here we are. There was a period of time last year where it was the best time to buy, and it was before leading into this. So I don't know. I think ultimately, like I said, if you need to buy a house, find something that makes sense for you, and then always refinance later. So
Well, I know we personally, me and my wife, been talking about building a house for a long time, and I finally talked to her. I was like, "Listen," I was like, "I don't know, maybe not be the best time to buy right now." I was like, "But we're gonna do this eventually, and it's getting more expensive to do every day,
every day,
and it's like, so we can
cost of
do
goods.
this house. What might cost us 400,000 right now could easily, by the time we think it's the right time to do, could easily be 600 plus. So I think in the long run, it's just continuing to
The right time really is going to be based on your finances, though. Like if you try to time the market, I just don't see. It's so hard to do that. So like if you all were to build, there's going to be the right time for your financial situation to do that based on what it is you want.
And just don't get yourself in a pickle where you'd have to, because even if I buy at the top of the market, let's say right now, and it does drop off, as long as I can support that, and I don't ended up in a 2008 situation where I didn't had a loan I shouldn't have had or something like that, and end up foreclosing. That's where the issues come in. As long as I tell people that in investment properties all the time, like, okay, if I've got a house that I've got a mortgage, let's say my mortgage is 1,200 and my maintenance is $400 a month. If I'm getting 1,600 or more a month in rent, and I know it's cash flowing positive, it doesn't matter if the value of that house goes down because I don't need to sell it. I'm just going to hold it till it comes back around. So I think the same thing applies when you're buying your own home too. Just don't get yourself don't get yourself house poor where you can't make the payment. I mean, unforeseen things happen sometimes. People lose jobs, stuff like that. But I don't think you can really plan around that.
No,
You
yeah.
know?
No, I don't. I think there's too many people like said you tend to overthink it, but then like I said, also you got to know your own finances. And people are like, oh, I can afford it, I can pay for this, and then the next thing you know, they buy a house that's beyond their means, and they're like, we can't even go on vacations, or we can't do this, and it's like, look, you got to decide what the prerogative is for you, and like what your priorities are, because
Yeah.
that could be a big indicator of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Let's get out of the heavy hitters. I've been spending a little more time around the office here and everything, kind of setting this up. And I've noticed you guys. I mean, in a short period of time, I feel like you guys have created a really cool culture around here. That's just like feels like a bunch of buddies just hanging out at the office. And like, how do you are you doing anything intentional to create that, or has it just been kind of
I
organically happening?
I will take zero credit. I mean, we want to be we're trying to be present as much as possible. I think the one thing we do really well is we're out trying to grow everybody else and trying to help them grow their business, and also as a person, and honestly caring about people's milestones. Like, yesterday we had Carly's birthday, and everybody came in here ready to celebrate her, like legit. Like, I got her a little something. They went out to lunch, and they had margaritas and had a good time. And we all hung out at the office. It's not a place where people come in and like, oh, I gotta clock in and clock out.
Exactly.
First of all, we don't have that.
Doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
It feels like everybody wants to be here.
Yeah, and everybody likes everybody.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, we all hang out, and we just talk about whatever, and it ends up being into sports, politics, religion, whatever you want, and then and we all get along really, really well, and
Yeah.
we're comfortable disagreeing with each other. And I mean, yeah, do me, Kyle, and Ronnie technically own the business? Yeah, but we don't act like bosses, or
Like that.
we don't tell people what to do. I mean, we might make suggestions,
Right.
and like how, yeah, because I mean, we want everybody to be successful, and we do know there's certain activities that everybody needs to do that drives that success, and based on what we've seen. But yeah, it's a fun environment, and I think I'll give Kyle some credit. The turnover chain, and us having a little bit some funner activities, and that culture around just a more playful atmosphere, and not so professional. I think that
Yeah.
has a big indicator into it too. So
Yeah, there's definitely a balance there that I feel like you guys have struck right here so far. Anyways, like I said, it's been a relatively short period of time. We've been in about a year.
you know what? It'll be a year in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
Year and 2
near around that time. But yeah, like I said, I love just everybody just screams across the office.
Yeah.
Like, hey Ben, what are you good?
Yeah. What are you doing? Where are you eating today? Or worse things sometimes. So use your
Yeah.
earmuffs sometimes.
Kyle manages by walking around, just pop his head in, and just random times.
Oh yeah.
So that's fun. Well, yeah, it's the only other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was just this podcast room.
Yes.
What's the plan in here? Like, what's the goal of this?
You know what? I'm very excited about this. So I'll definitely, first of all, I want to give you all a shout out and tell you all thank you so much for making this happen. Because without you guys, we couldn't do this.
And Faith, who's behind the
Yeah, so I was just gonna say Faith behind. She's the core value of all this for sure. And we're excited to partner with you guys on this and be able to have this in our office because ultimately we want to hold ourselves accountable and everybody in the office accountable to bring as much information to the public as possible. I know that's a big shortage of a thing we have in our industry, being able to keep everybody educated on what's going on, whether it be relative mortgage news of like what's going on in the market today, and or just educating people in general, like, you know, how do you get pre-qualified for a mortgage and what does all that process look like? And I think you'll see more and more over this year in 2025 that we're going to spend a lot more time doing that. And then obviously just providing this as a resource to our real estate partners, and just continue to help people grow. So.
Yeah. I like what I like about the setup of this room so far, just in the few little things we've done with it, is it just feels more like we're just kind of letting people in on the conversations we have around the office anyways. Like we've talked about that before. Like if we had a little camera following us around all the time, there'd be little snippets that could go out to anybody and would be helpful to a lot of people, you know, to other mortgage brokers, to other agents, to clients and customers. And so I just think it's a cool, you know, like I said, way to let people in on what we're doing. So hopefully it comes across a little more genuine than us throwing it sitting in front of a camera saying, here, we're to tell you this about this, you
And
know,
that-
instead it's just more.
Yeah, because I mean, it just gets kind of like blocky, if that makes any sense. Like it's like straight edge, like, hey, my name, I'm with, and it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I've had people say like, oh, I appreciate that information, but I don't know, this the way the content comes over is just first of all, it's more fun to watch. And like ultimately we want to educate people and we want it to be fun.
Right.
And we know we have a fun group.
Yeah.
This allows us to be able to portray how fun we are and also educate you and bring everybody into this world and not be getting a mortgage or learning about a mortgage or a refinance, making it a scary thing. It's not, it's actually a very simple thing. It's a very black and white thing to a point.
Right.
And I think this will allow us to kind of help portray that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you completely. It really is. It's one of those things that can be so just the process period of buying a house, whether it's the picking the house or maintaining the house or getting your mortgage or whatever, can be a very like daunting thing. I think a lot of people wait too long to do it, but it's really not, at the risk of losing my job. It's not that hard of a thing. Yes, but it's nice to have somebody like us who knows what we're doing, obviously, to give you some confidence just to get through that process.
Dude, you said it, man. Like I said, and as far as from the real estate side, by the way, and I'll give you a little kudos here. Like there is definitely a difference between a good realtor and a realtor that just fills out contracts. And I know we've seen this.
Her realtors out there, and that's we've seen a massive. I'm sure you all have in your side too. When it got real easy to do there for a little while, and I came in kind of in the middle of that, but it got so easy to do that just tons and tons of people got into it. But just like most anything, the 80-20 rule applies, which is they say that 20% of the agents do 80% of the business, which I would venture to say it's probably even a little more drastic number than that.
I was going to say, that might probably
Say 90-10, 95-5, I don't know what it's really at, but very few agents do most of the business. So I think it is important to realize, like I said, on either side of our business, that not all agents, not all LOs are created equal. Some are not putting everything into it and just kind of waiting for things to fall in their lap and being more reactive to it versus, the people like us. I feel like we put a lot into it. We're putting a lot into getting things out, informational things out to people, to learning more about the business, to making it as easy and comfortable for people as possible. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to know.
Well, and like you said, people that are in the market today, like it's been a very good market still in real estate over the last couple of years. But if you're a realtor or a loan officer and you're still in the business, like there's a lot of people that fell out. And that means you're doing something right. You're treating your clients right. You're treating your customers right. You're walking through the process and educating them throughout and getting them to the closing table, not with a blindfold on, but walking away from it knowing like, okay, I've got a general understanding of like what this is and how to do it. And I see the value that they brought. Like there's a reason for the people that are still in the business today. Anyway, once again, just a kudos back to you on that.
Well, I appreciate it. And same goes to you guys. Yeah. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to cover.
I'll shoot out.
Yeah. So good talking to you.